Imagine waking up tomorrow and boom, money hits your account. No application, no interview, no prove you deserve it. Just a guaranteed basic income. Now, here's the fear people have. If everyone gets paid, why would anyone work? And if nobody works, does society just collapse? In the next 10 minutes, we're going to answer the question everyone argues about. Will universal basic income destroy work forever? And we're not doing vibes. We're doing evidence, real experiments, real data, real outcomes. UBI is one of those policies that triggers a deep human debate. Is work mainly about survival or meaning? If the paycheck disappears, does motivation disappear too? And in the background, there's automation, AI, robots, future of jobs anxiety, pushing this debate into overdrive. By the end, I'll give you a 10-second verdict, and the one thing that matters more than will people stop working. Universal Basic Income, UBI, means unconditional cash payments to everyone, usually enough to cover basic needs, no strings attached. Supporters say it's simple, it reduces poverty, and it gives people stability. Critics say it's a moral hazard. Pay people for nothing, and you get nothing. So, let's tackle the big claim head-on. Does UBI destroy work? The research for this video looked across a large body of research, a systematic analysis of 179 peer-reviewed studies, including major randomized trials and long-running real-world programs. And its central conclusion is blunt. UBI does not destroy work. Across contexts and time periods, labor effects are typically null to modest, with no evidence of a catastrophic collapse. But you don't have to take a conclusion on faith. Let's walk through the evidence that gets us there. One of the strongest ways to answer this question is to zoom out and ask, across many trials, what usually happens? A comprehensive review looked at 16 trial programs and checked whether work outcomes showed less than a 5% decrease in hours or participation. Result: 93% of outcomes supported no meaningful work reductions. That doesn't mean no one ever works less. It means the apocalypse storyline, everyone abandoning work, just doesn't match reality. If humans were naturally lazy the moment survival pressure eased, these trials would have been a disaster. They weren't. Finland ran one of the most famous basic income experiments. One key detail: it reduced participation tax rates, basically increasing the reward for taking a job by 23 percentage points. Yet the employment response was modest, not dramatic. And the research emphasizes something important. The Finnish experiment showed unconditional income does not cause labor market exit and may modestly increase employment while improving well-being. In Kenya, a long-term UBI trial found no net effect on total household labor supply, directly challenging the UBI makes people lazy claim. Now, Alaska is fascinating because it's not a short pilot, it's decades. Studies find no significant effect on aggregate employment over 1982 to 2015. What did change? More flexibility. Part-time work increased by 1.8 percentage points, about 17%. And after 40-plus years, there's no evidence Alaska's work culture collapsed. So if the work forever dies story were true, Alaska should have been the cautionary tale by now. It isn't. Yes, sometimes work falls a bit, and the research doesn't hide that. In the US negative income tax experiments, some sites saw about 4% declines in employment, and certain groups showed reduced earnings. Even predictions for a large $12,000 UBI suggest reductions in hours of roughly 1.6% to 3.3%, not a collapse. So the honest answer is, UBI can reduce work somewhat, but the magnitude looks manageable, not civilization ending. Here's the key insight. People don't work only because they're desperate. Work is also identity, purpose, social status, and structure. The research's synthesis points to mechanisms like intrinsic motivation and social norms as major reasons effects are modest. People want to move out. They want to build something. They want respect. They want options. UBI might reduce the pressure to take the worst job under the worst conditions, but that's not the same thing as nobody works. The more realistic story is not work disappears. It's work changes. The research notes shifts like more part-time work rather than quitting entirely. Reductions concentrated in certain groups, like parents and secondary earners, while others offset it. And people using the cushion to invest in education or caregiving rather than pure leisure. That's not destroying work. That's changing how people allocate time, sometimes in socially beneficial ways. There's another reason everyone quits doesn't show up. When people have money, they spend money. And spending creates demand, which creates jobs. In Alaska, researchers find the dividend's null employment effect is consistent with spending stimulating the local economy, offsetting reduced labor supply through increased labor demand. And the research describes how the dividend increased employment in non-tradable sectors like retail and services. So UBI isn't just money that makes people relax. It's also money that circulates. If the biggest fear is people stop working, the biggest surprise is often people get healthier, and that can support work long-term. For example, the Canadian Mincome experiment showed an 8.5% decrease in hospitalizations for mental health, accidents, and injuries. And across the evidence base, well-being improvements are a consistent theme. That doesn't prove UBI is perfect, but it does explain why UBI kills motivation is too simplistic. When stress drops, decision-making can improve. Job search, training, stability. Now we get to the part that matters more than the work doomsday: paying for it and designing it. A $12,000 annual UBI for all U.S. adults would cost about $3 trillion, around 15% of GDP. That's enormous. And design choices create winners and losers. A pure UBI, funded by eliminating transfers and using a flat tax, can become regressive in distribution, especially if existing targeted benefits exceed the UBI level for some low-income recipients. So the research's framing is basically, the barriers are fiscal and political, not a behavioral collapse where everyone stops working. So, what should we conclude? Takeaway 1. The work collapse fear is not supported by evidence. Takeaway 2. Expect some shifts, more flexibility, some reduced hours in certain groups, but not mass exit. Takeaway 3. The real fight is cost, financing, and design, not human laziness. So, will universal basic income destroy work forever? No. The evidence says labor effects are typically modest, not catastrophic. The better question is UBI worth its cost? And can we design it so it actually helps without breaking the budget? If you want Part 2, the best UBI designs versus the worst, and what alternatives like negative income tax or child allowances can do, comment Part 2 and I'll make it. And if this helped, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who thinks UBI automatically means nobody works.